Phoenix consistently ranks in the top 10 fastest growing cities in the US. With a healthy job market, lots to do, and a desirable lifestyle, it's no wonder that people flock to Arizona and Phoenix to live. Now, while we were once known as an extremely affordable city, that has changed a bit over the last couple years, but it's really going to depend on where you're coming from as to what your perception is on the affordability here. So before you move to Phoenix, here are 14 things you really should know. Now, number one might be the reason that you're even looking at Phoenix, and that is the jobs in Phoenix. We have an extremely healthy job market. Now, many people don't know this because outside of California, the only other city that's really talked about when it comes to tech is Austin. Well, guess what? Phoenix is growing as a tech mecca. With the reasonable cost of living, especially compared to California and sometimes Austin, and a warm, dry climate should be appealing to people relocating from either San Francisco or Austin. Now, beyond the tech sector, Phoenix has a robust financial sector for employment as well as medical, insurance, manufacturing, and construction. Huge job opportunities right here. Some of Phoenix's largest employers are Wells Fargo, Banner Health, and Intel. Number two are the Phoenix Sports. Phoenix is a serious sports town with just about every franchise that you can think of represented right here. We've got the Phoenix Suns as well as the Phoenix Mercury. We've got the Arizona Cardinals as well as the Rattlers, which is the indoor football league team. We have the Arizona Coyotes, and baseball fans can enjoy the Arizona Diamondbacks. If baseball is your sport and you're worried about going to a game in the summertime, don't worry. Our stadium here is air conditioned. Even if they have the roof open, you're still gonna feel nice and cool. We also have the Phoenix Rising here, which is the soccer league. And if you thought other colleges had college rivalries, you have not been around ASU or U of A fans. These are the two major colleges here in Arizona. And man, if you want to get into college sports and pick one of these, you better pick a side and stick to it. Number three is you will need a car to get around. Phoenix is a sprawling city, so we don't have that dense downtown where you can just walk to everything. Now, we do have public transportation, but it's really just not used that often. Our light rail is probably the most used public transportation, but the reality is that that's used really for people that live farther away, come to save money and park a little closer to some of the stadiums, use the light rail to get to the Suns and the Diamondbacks game. Now, I know some of you still think of us as the Wild Wild West, but don't worry. If you like to use Uber and Lyft, we have those here too, so you can still use them here. So speaking of driving, the next one is that you will likely never get lost here in Phoenix. Phoenix streets are set up on a grid system, so you are either going north and south or east and west. And if you ever feel lost, you can look for South Mountain that runs along the south side of the city, or find the McDowell Mountains, which is northeast of the city. And if you can see Camelback Mountain, you are in downtown Scottsdale. So another thing to know is that Phoenix has some impressive museums. If all you think about when you think of Phoenix is urban sprawl and strip malls, think again. The city's art and culture scene are quite impressive. Some of the city's popular museums are the Arizona Art Museum, the Heard Museum, and the Arizona Science Center. There is also an amazing musical instrument museum, as well as the Phoenix Children's Museum. And although technically not a museum, you cannot miss the Desert Botanical Gardens. So the next thing you need to know is wildlife is everywhere. So depending on your perspective, living around the Phoenix wildlife is either a perk or terrifying. We have coyotes, javelinas, bobcats, snakes, scorpions, tarantulas, lizards, toads, a few mountain lions, and a variety of birds that all call the Phoenix area home. Now, I know some of you heard a couple things in that list and you said, absolutely, those are no-goes for me. And I get it. I am petrified of snakes. Now, when I say petrified, I mean I can't touch a magazine page with a snake on it. I just kind of have to flip a few pages to get to the next thing. I'm petrified of them. But here's what I can tell you. Almost everything that is living here is more afraid of us than we are of them. They will stay away from you if you stay away from them. And for me, I've come to the conclusion that I will take that over all the bugs and all the other things in the Midwest and the East Coast. Now, you probably have heard this one before, but something else to know is that it's hot here. Now, the average high temperature in Phoenix in July is over 104. However, we can also have multiple days of over 110. On the flip side, in January, which is our coldest month, and this always shocks people, Our average temperature is about 43. And this is why I tell people moving here from states that get snow, don't throw all your jackets away. And one of the most common things that you're going to hear when you come here is that, well, it's a dry heat. And although it really is dry, there are a few times that our humidity does rise. Which brings me to the next one, the monsoons. Now, this is something that if you have not experienced it, it's really hard to explain. And in the summertime, during our monsoons, this is the time of the year that Phoenix gets its most rainfall. And what people don't realize is that Phoenix experiences a monsoon season every year during the summer. So what is a monsoon? It is high winds, severe downpours, blowing dust, or haboobs as they call them, and flash flooding. These are all possible during a monsoon. Now, one of the best things about the monsoons is that it actually brings our temperatures down. Now, sometimes it's only for like a couple hours, but when you're here in the heat of the summer, you'll take a few degrees cooler anytime. The one thing that people don't tell you about when they talk about the monsoons is that it does increase our humidity, sometimes to 40 to 50%, sometimes even in the 60s. Now, I know if you're from the Midwest or the East Coast, you're looking at me going, you're crazy. That's not that humid. I feel it humid. I've had some other people that have started to say, oof, gosh, you know what? It really does get a little bit humid. It doesn't stay around for very long. It is not long lasting. But when our humidity rises and the heat comes back, it does get humid and sticky. Now, the big thing to know about when we get these heavy rains, and I mean heavy rains, if you're up north Phoenix, you really have to drive carefully because we've got areas up there that have washes that still run. And we have a stupid motorist law. If there is a barricade that says, do not drive through this wash, do not drive through the wash. This stupid motorist law means that if you decide to go through anyway and you get stuck, you may be charged for your rescue. One of the next things to know about Phoenix is that everyone is from somewhere else. There are actually very few native Phoenicians, although I do feel like that number is growing. You can find places in the Phoenix area where you've got whole chunks of Chicago, Minnesota, New York, LA, all living right within the area. The good news about that is if you're coming here and you think you don't know anyone, I guarantee go to the grocery store and you're probably going to run into somebody that you know. I mean, really, I have had this happen to clients. The other great thing about this is that people are always really welcoming. They came from somewhere else. They know you've come from somewhere else, and they really want to welcome you into the city. Something else to know about living in Phoenix is the outdoor activities are plentiful. Now, everyone has heard of the Grand Canyon, and if you're visiting Arizona or moved to Arizona, it is an absolute must-see. But that is not the only beautiful place here in Arizona. There are multiple other places that you really need to experience. Right here in Phoenix, we have the McDowell Sonoran Preserve, we have Echo Canyon, Camelback, and the Superstition Mountains. And then just outside of Phoenix, you've got Sedona, Prescott, and Flagstaff that all have amazing hikes and outdoor things to do. And for those that think that Phoenix just doesn't have any water, that's not the case. We've got Bartlett Lake, Saguaro Lake, and Lake Pleasant. So if boating is your thing, you can do that all here too. One of the next things that you really need to know is that you can forget about daylight savings. Now, I love not having to worry about daylight savings. I know when I lived in California, fall back, fall ahead, I was always confused about where we were, which direction or where we going. And now I don't have to worry about it. The only thing you do have to worry about is that when you're making plans or making a meeting, an appointment with somebody from another state, that they understand what our time is and that you understand what their time is, because sometimes we're 2 hours, sometimes we're 3 hours, sometimes we're the same, sometimes we're 1 hour. So guess what I do with that? I got an app for that. This way, I make sure that everyone can show up on time. Now, another thing you really need to know about Phoenix is that our housing market isn't as affordable as it once was. Now, during the last 2 years, our housing market, like just about everywhere else in the US, has changed drastically. The one good thing about it is, like I said, the very first thing is our job market. And our job market here in the Phoenix area is very strong. In fact, our unemployment is lower than the national average right now. We have more and more high-paying jobs coming to the valley, which is supporting our housing. But just like many other markets, we are seeing a slowdown in demand, which is starting to flatten our prices, and some are coming down just a little bit. Now, I do see a correction coming in our housing market, but I do not see a massive crash or huge price declines coming to our market. Now, something else you really need to know about Phoenix is that our sunsets are breathtaking. Now, if you've never seen an Arizona sunset, you are in for a treat. Our sky can turn red and orange, and our mountains can turn purple and blue. Believe me when I say, when you see our sunsets, you will want to take a picture every single time. This is something that never gets old. Something else to know about Phoenix? Don't be surprised when you see professional athletes and celebrities. Our weather, golf, and events bring a lot of celebrities to the Phoenix area. So when you're out and about, don't be shocked when you see them. But if you think they are all just visiting, think again. Many of them choose to make Phoenix home because they love it so much. Now, if you want to know all the reasons why Phoenix might not be for you, take a look at this video right here. And if I can answer any questions for you, please feel free to reach out to me. As always, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.